Okay, we are live on all platforms. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala al-ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Sayyidina nabiyyina wa qurrata a'yunina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. A very, very, very warm welcome to today's live Q&A. Alhamdulillah. Absolute pleasure as always. Assalamu alaikum to everybody joining us from all over the place. Alhamdulillah. Let me know in the comments, where are you joining from? I would love to hear. Where are you joining from right now? We've got quite a lot of people in, mashallah. Let me know where you are joining from. I would love to get some data on that and some idea of where you are watching this from. Mashallah, USA, Chicago, amazing, amazing, amazing. We've got Preston, mashallah. We've got Bangladesh, we've got India. Allahu Akbar, unbelievable. As you guys know, I am sitting in London in a place called Ilford, which is where our offices are. East of London. Sorry, it's not east actually. Northeast of London. We've got South Africa, Oxford. Alhamdulillah, unbelievable. Guys, I am here at your service. Is there anything that I can help you with? Any questions that you have about anything relating to business, relating to money, relating to finances, entrepreneurship, business ideas, business dilemmas, anything? I am at your service. We used to get a lot of questions, a lot of messages, and I couldn't keep up with them. So we decided to just come live every single week to the best of my abilities to be here every Sunday morning, mashallah. Right. Someone is asking, how much do you charge for mentoring? I don't actually currently do any one-to-one mentoring, but I do have a mentoring community, which is only, I think, £29 a month, and you get direct access to me there. And I also have a high level, so almost like a franchise partnership thing where you get some mentoring from me. It's in the property space. That one, obviously, you need a lot more money. Is that in Arabic? So those of you who are interested in joining a community where you can get mentorship from myself, where you can meet other business owners, that community is for business owners. Okay, you have to have a business. Then you can see the links on all of my socials. It's the Elite Baraka Circle. So let's see. I've got an interesting question here on TikTok, which is, should everyone have a personal assistant? The answer is no, because why would everybody need a personal assistant? Why would my wife, who doesn't work full time, why does she need a personal assistant? Why would a nurse need a personal assistant? So the question is asked the wrong way. I'm assuming you're asking, should business owners have a personal assistant, or high level professionals have a personal assistant? Anyone who's trying to do something big, I believe, should have some assistance, because all of us have certain things that are, all of our tasks, you can categorize them in high value, low value. And anything that is low value, for example, reading your emails, for example, filing, for example, doing admin, for example, designing posters, for example, all of these sort of operations, admin related stuff, you as the business owner, you cannot be doing that. Someone else needs to do that, because your time is far too valuable, far too valuable. So someone else needs to be doing that. And if you're not, then you are wasting time and wasting money. Why should I spend an hour doing a task that someone else can do for 15 pounds when I could be working on a task that's going to make me 500 pounds? I could be working on a client project, for example. Why am I doing gardening, wasting an hour of my life when I could be doing something far more valuable? So, that is an important lesson that I actually learned the hard way. I've been on my own for a very long time. And the minute I started getting help and delegating different types of tasks, that's when the growth really started happening. That's when the explosive growth starts happening, because then you, as the business owner, you're focusing on the most valuable, most high value things. I'm gonna have a quick look here on Instagram for any questions here on Instagram. MashaAllah. What do you recommend for a Muslim with no money? What do you recommend for a Muslim who has no money and wants to start a halal business? I need a little bit more information around that. So I'm assuming you have no business, sorry, you have no money because you are maybe a student, or maybe you're unemployed, or you are working full time and you just don't have any savings. The first thing I would say to someone who wants to start a business but doesn't have any capital is, you don't need capital. What you need is skills. What you need is a strategy. What you need is knowledge. So my advice to you would be, think of the type of business that you're interested in starting and go and learn about it. Go and maybe work for someone who runs a similar business. Go and get the knowledge. Go and get the skills. Go and get the network, the connections, the know-how, the strategies. Then you're in a good place to start your own business. And even if you have no money at that stage, you can find someone who's willing to give you money, because you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you have everything that's necessary for you to make this business venture a success. Is it permissible to trade crypto and forex? Now, these are questions which the answers you can find online from reputable scholars. So you should do your proper research. My understanding and my view is that forex itself is a gray area. So I stay away from forex, trading forex. But crypto, depending, again, it depends how you trade it. You can't trade it with any margin. You can't trade it with any leverage. So you need to educate yourself a bit more on these things, because there's a lot of different things. Trading mean there's so many different ways to trade. Some are halal, some are not halal. There's so many cryptos. Some are halal, some are not halal. So you need to educate yourself, inshallah, if you're interested. And that's the good thing. Like I said, go and learn before you earn. I say that on every stream, every live. Go and learn before you earn. Mashallah, we have someone watching all the way from LA. Amazing. I did spend some time in LA last summer. I didn't quite like it, to be honest with you. And but I did get a chance to go and visit the Sequoia National Forest, which is a special moment for me because our business is called Sequoia Homes. A brother is saying, I bought a house with mortgage. I made a big mistake. Please advise on how to get out of it and buy a house in a halal way. Now, first and foremost, if you have made a mistake, all you have to do, is make sincere tawbah, be genuinely remorseful, and try to rectify the mistake. And mashallah, from your question, I can see that you're genuinely remorseful. You are trying to figure out how to do it, how to rectify the situation. So um, there's few options for you. You can possibly convert or transfer your current mortgage to a Sharia compliant provider like Gatehouse, and there must be a few more out there. So that's one option, that I'm gonna convert whatever mortgage I have. I want to move that over to another provider. That's number one. Number two, um, it depends on how much mortgage you've got left. Because if it's not a lot, let's say you've only got 60,000 left, you could basically work really hard and perhaps borrow from friends and family to clear that mortgage as soon as possible. Clear it, get rid of it as soon as you can, because you do not want to die with a mortgage on your shoulders. Let me say that again. You don't want to die with a mortgage on your shoulders. So you want to clear that as soon as possible. I've had friends who've done that. They made the mistake, realized, and then they cleared it as soon as they could. And alhamdulillah, they had to borrow, they had to sacrifice, they had to maybe not go on holiday as often, they had to work harder at work, but they got it done. In less than 5 years, they cleared the mortgage, mashallah. So it really does depend on how big your mortgage is. Another option is possibly, depending, again, it depends on the variables, but you could sell the house and then whatever cash you have, use that to buy something. But it depends on how much equity you have. So there's different ways, but the main way, again, I can't advise you unless you give me a bit more information about exactly what the numbers look like. Because it's almost like going to a doctor and saying, can you fix me? But you haven't told the doctor exactly what the symptoms are, how often they've been happening, how severe they are, when they started. Without the information, you can't expect somebody to give you a cure. Okay, so I'm gonna have a quick look now on mashallah. Is there a halal way to invest money in share market? Yes, I'm sure there are halal providers out there. Have a look at Islamic Finance Guru. Also, you can yourself educate yourself and learn what makes a share of a company halal or haram. And there's also lists that people have made of what the halal stock, which ones of the stocks out there are halal, and then you can just buy them directly yourself. Someone's asking me a really interesting question. How would you advise giving back to a community in terms of mentoring new entrepreneurs? MashaAllah, phenomenal question. May Allah bless you for having that sentiment. So there's, again, the answer is it depends, right? It depends on who you are. It depends on how much skill you have. It depends on how much time you have. But you can just have a glance at what I'm doing. I'm here right now offering free advice to anyone who needs it. That's something that anyone can do through the powers of social media. That's one way of giving back. It doesn't cost anyone a penny. Other ways of giving back is by creating content, running maybe workshops, events, training programs. Another way of giving back is to take somebody under your wing and mentor them one to one. Take 5 people and say, I'm going to sit with you guys once a month and I'm going to help you with your businesses. And if you want to do it at scale, like if you want to help hundreds of people, like I have been trying to do, and alhamdulillah I've managed to do, then you might need something a bit more organized. You're going to need some type of academy where people have to pay money because you have costs, you have staff, you have overheads, you have a lot of things going on, where people actually pay for a very, very valuable program of some kind. You can write, you can create some short courses. There's so many ways of giving back, mashallah. So if you're a successful businessman, it depends. You may or may not like doing content. You may or may not like coming on social media like this. So you have to figure out what is easy for me to do and what is something valuable that people can benefit from. That's very, very important. How can I? You can even just start by just doing a small workshop at your local masjid, at your local in your community, or offer the local schools that I'll be happy to come and do some workshops for your students on entrepreneurship. There's a lot of different ways that we can give back. It just depends on what you like doing, what you're best. Some of us are good at writing, some of us are better at speaking, some of us are just better at advising and consulting. It really depends on what your strength is. But the question on your mind should be, what is the best way for me to help someone else at the highest possible level? What is the best way for me to help someone else at the highest possible level? That's one question. Another question you should ask yourself is, how can I help the highest possible number of people? That's going to give you a different type of answer. Alhamdulillah. So, okay, so we're still. Um, when I got a great question from Brother Fahmid on YouTube. When you decided to start creating content, did the fear or concern of the consequences of fame come to mind? As, for example, people disturbing you whilst you're with your wife in public? Yes, the answer is yes. And actually, it's already started happening a while ago when I was a small sort of I had a modest following on LinkedIn. I wasn't posting anything on TikTok. I wasn't posting anything on Instagram. I didn't even have an Instagram. But this has been happening where as soon as I got to, let's say, 15K connections on LinkedIn, and I've been writing on LinkedIn for a long time and writing a lot of valuable stuff. Um, People started coming up to me at weddings, a couple of times in airports, one time on a plane. My brother came up to me. Alhamdulillah, for me, it's a Muslim brother coming up to me to say, "Hey, Tanim, nice to meet you. I've been reading your stuff online." That doesn't disturb me. That doesn't annoy me. That humbles me that, subhanAllah, someone has benefited, and I hope Allah accepts it. And while I'm there with them, I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I can do to help them. So if somebody in a restaurant, people come up, and I'm not that famous, right? So people that are coming up to me have been following my content for a while. They understand who I am. They maybe have benefited on a sort of on a long time frame. They come up to me with a lot of respect. They come up with uh, you know with a genuine want to express that, what, it's great to meet you because I've been watching your content or I've been reading. So it doesn't disturb me as such. Yes, my wife is not a massive, she doesn't love it. But ultimately, it's an opportunity to connect with more people. And, even making a Muslim smile is a good deed. Imagine, even making a Muslim brother smile is a good deed. So imagine if you can help somebody to the point where they see you on the street and they want to come up to you and shake your hand. That is humbling. But it's important for us to remember and make sure that doesn't get to our head, and always stay humble that everything, whatever they may have read or seen, it wasn't from me, is through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the battle. I would say the battle is not people coming to me and disturbing me the battle for us is more of the internal battle with the nafs, meaning you don't start thinking that I've become someone. You don't start thinking that people should know you, or they should notice you, or they should respect you, or things like that. That is the real battle. So it comes down to mindset. I really don't mind someone coming up to me to say salam. I don't. That's a wonderful thing. And it's also wonderful waking up to messages saying that, oh, comments. I wake up to comments on my YouTube videos saying, may Allah bless you and your family. How wonderful is that? A stranger making dua for you. Just go to my YouTube videos and read all the comments. Alhamdulillah. It's a true privilege. Right, let's have a look at TikTok now. Have you invested with Arkib and he's done for you business model? I have not. Arkib is I would say friend. I would say friend. We don't see each other very often, but I've known him for a long time. I myself invest in my own businesses. I don't need to give my money to someone else to grow it, but it is, from what I understand, a pretty good investment. And I know people that I know people that have invested with him and are getting good results, mashallah. Okay, let's see what else is there. Mashallah, somebody watching from Saudi Arabia. How do you make your mustache so thin? That's a secret. Can't tell you. Do you recommend rent-to-rent serviced accommodation? It depends where you live. In London, there is demand, but there's also a 90-day rule, which is a bit restrictive. I personally don't like uh, serviced accommodation because it's quite fragile. It's quite sensitive to seasonalities. I want my income to be solid month in and month out. And I also don't like the fact that you gotta do all of this work, cleaning, laundry, filling up the tea bags, this, that. Of course, someone else can do it, but it just sounds like a lot of headache. Are you from Chittagong? My my dad is. Subhanallah. There's someone on TikTok saying, I follow. I've been following you from the days of bulletproof interviews. Subhanallah. Amazing. Oh, mashallah, that's sister Ikra. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So there you go. This is an example of someone I don't think we've ever met in person. I'm not even sure where the sister lives, but she has been benefiting from content. And mashallah, she's saying, thank you for your help. Alhamdulillah, that is a wonderful thing that I wouldn't be able to do had it not been for my decision to start creating content. Alhamdulillah. So let's see what other questions we've got. Let me have a quick look. There's quite a few questions about people asking about mentoring and asking how they can do what I do. And I run a free 4-hour live masterclass where I talk about everything in detail in terms of my property management business. And for that you just go to register. The next one I'm doing, I think, is Saturday the 8th. So to register for it, you go to www.sequoiaacademy.co.uk. Let me just type it because it's a bit of a sequoiaacademy.co.uk. It's completely free. It's 4 hours of crazy value, and you will understand everything that I do, and there is no pitch at the end. I don't sell a program, I don't sell a course. If anybody wants to work with me, wants to work with us, there's a whole process they have to go through. So just share that there. Let's see what else we've got here. Alhamdulillah. Someone's asking, how do I start a halal business without a loan? I am broke right now. My brother, if you are broke, first thing you need to do is become unbroke. then start dreaming about having a business. Because if, let me tell you why, and I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. I'm saying that because I've been there. When you are broke, meaning you don't have financial comfort, you're literally struggling with the basics. That is not the time for you to be thinking about a business, because what happens is the desperation comes into it. You will be desperate to make money, and you will make bad decisions because of it. So if someone is broke right now, the only thing you should be thinking about is, how do I become not broke? And that could be getting a better job. That could be doing something extra. Like I used to do tutoring on the side. I used to do all sorts of, I used to sell leather products from Morocco on eBay and Amazon. I used to do all sorts. I used to buy scuffed up alloy wheels, and I would sand them down and refurbish them by hand in my garden and sell them back for a profit. Those are things, if you're broke, you need to be thinking about, how do I first get into a place where I'm not desperate for money? Then you'll be able to, inshallah, think about business, think about building something long term properly. Okay, any questions? Let's have a look at TikTok. A few people are asking about the TikTok live presentation that took place with my friend a few days ago. I think that was on Friday evening. Yeah, it was Friday evening. Um, if you saw it on Facebook, I probably didn't see your message, because we got over 600 messages on all different platforms, and I forgot to tell my team to keep an eye on Facebook, because in my head Facebook is kind of dead. I hardly ever look at it, to be honest. But whatever I post on Instagram automatically goes on Facebook, so people think I'm very active on Facebook. So I'm sorry if you haven't gotten the information about it. I'll get hold of the registration, inshallah, and then help figure out if we can get that for you as well, inshallah. Okay, okay. How is the best way to buy a council home halal in the UK? Council home. When it comes to buying property, right? When it comes to buying property, there are halal providers in the UK. Yeah. So just look up online who are the companies providing halal mortgages, halal purchase plans. You've got Gatehouse, you've got a company called FIDA. There's a lot out there. You need to do your research. Let's have a look on TikTok. What's happening? What's the best way to contact you? It would be to send a whatever platform you're watching this from. Send a message, and then my team will respond. And if there is something that needs my attention, it will most definitely come to me as well, inshallah. Mashallah, brother Kashif, who was mentioning earlier about mentoring others, is saying that he will support 5 people from here to get into work. Um, The not broke issue you mentioned, I will support them with taxi badges. Okay, mashallah. So he's looking to support people to build their own income and to build their own livelihood, mashallah. Mashallah. Okay, guys, do you have any questions for me before we wrap up? Um, Let me ask you something, actually. Let me ask you all something really, really quickly, which is what platform do you use the most? Out of all the different social media platforms, we've got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Which platform do you use the most? Someone is saying, I swear I saw you in Sahih Masala about a week ago. Yes, I was there for an event in Alam Rock. Which platform do you use the most? And that is important for me so I know where to spend more energy on. Okay, so we have YouTube and TikTok. Obviously, a lot of people saying Instagram and YouTube. Some people are saying IG. Well, mashallah. Muhammad Qasim. I'm just gonna check on LinkedIn to make sure I'm seeing all of the comments. Let's have a look. Have I got any questions on? Oh wow. Yeah, there is oh, apologies. have not been seeing the comments on LinkedIn. They haven't been coming through for some reason. So this is now for my LinkedIn family, mashallah. What is the best way to build a property portfolio without riba? It depends what you mean by property portfolio. So if you're looking for cash flow income, all you care about is I want £5,000 a month in my account every month in a halal way. I don't care about owning. I don't care about any of that stuff. Then management is a good way. Creative control, rent to rent, those are good ways of generating rental income without any riba whatsoever. If if your goal is to build a property portfolio, meaning I want to own assets, then the only way to do that is with cash. You need cash. So if my goal was to own 10 properties cash, what I would do is I would start a business with the view to sell it for millions in 3 to 5 years. And once I sold the business, I will put all of that money into property, and all of that will be without a single penny of riba. So it depends what you mean by building a property portfolio. Because alhamdulillah, we have a property portfolio of over 400 properties, and that generates about £700,000 a month in rent. Now, not all of that is profit. Maybe 15% of that, 15-20% of that maybe is profit, but that's not bad. What's 15% of 70 grand, 700k? That's about 80 grand a month. 80 grand a month in halal profit from property. And this is through the rent to rent model, that we lease these properties from the owners. We have everything from 2-bed to a 17-unit block, everything in between. Mashallah. So I've got somebody, Brother Muhammad Dilwar Hussain. We have a few properties, some halal mortgages, some regular, some paid off. Mashallah. I have been renting out houses since the age of 14. Allahu Akbar. He's 40 now. How would you recommend we expand into managing properties for others? Managing properties for others is the most scalable way of expanding on your current income. And I'm sure you understand that, which is why you're asking this question. Now, the best way, there's only, well, if you want to start managing properties for others, you've got two options. And I hope Brother Muhammad is still watching. Firstly, you can leverage your network, meaning if you know other people who have properties and you have an existing relationship, you slowly start taking, well, you offer to take on their properties for management and slowly take on and build from your network. Your second option is to start an official management company and going out to the market and presenting yourself as a management company. Ideally, you would have something unique because there's so many people doing this stuff already. You would want to present something unique. For example, we have a very specific niche and we're the best in that niche. That's why it's easy for us to grow and scale and convince landlords and we manage properties on behalf of landlords, agents, portfolio investors, developers. Once you become very, very good at one thing, you're able to do that. So it really depends on your situation. If I was someone that had lots of friends who have a few houses here and there, a lot of buy to lets, this and that, I'd be like, listen, I'm starting a new venture. I know how hard it is for you guys to manage your properties whilst still performing at work and giving time to your families and all of this stuff. I want to make things easy for you. You guys know me. You know that I'm a serious guy. I'm not like those crooks in terms of many agents out there. Uh, I just wanted to finally provide a good service for good people like yourself. If you want, I can take over management of your property. Let's start with one, and if you're happy, you can give me more. So that's probably a good way to start. Now, if I didn't have friends or connections or associates or acquaintances who had properties, which is a bit hard, because a lot of people in our community have properties, then I would have to start from scratch, which is what I did. I started from absolute scratch, set up a business, set up a website, set up a brand, set up within a specific niche, and you start from zero. And then and the most difficult part is getting your first property. Now, for you, it's not going to be that difficult because you are a landlord yourself. You own property. You have the experience. I started as a 26-year-old who knew nothing about property. So it was much harder for me to get my first. So I hope that helps you, brother Muhammad. I'm looking at any other questions that I may have missed. Some of your okay, here we go. Sorry. Some of your questions are not showing up fully. Here's a great question. What's your thoughts about contracting versus having your own business? Okay. What's your question? What's your thoughts about contracting versus having your own business? This is a very, very important question, actually. So, contracting, you are essentially providing a service. So, it is a form of business. It is a type of business, actually. You're providing a service to a company who's paying you a daily rate or a monthly rate. And mashallah, the good thing about contracting is that you get paid very well. I mean, I had a friend, he was getting paid £20,000 a month on his contracting, on his contract. There are people making more than that. Even if you're making 10 grand a month as a contractor, that is phenomenal. But here's a big but. You don't actually have a business because you're still selling time for money. If you stop working, can you take 3 months off and still get paid? You can't. Can you take 3 days off as a contractor and still get paid? No. If God forbid something was to happen to you, would there still be an income for your family? No. So you are in the trap of self-employment. You're in the trap of self-employment. And this goes out to anyone who is a contractor or thinking about contracting. For me, that is a big problem. It's good while it lasts. And that's the other thing, by the way, that in contracting, you have all of the risks of a business, meaning that contract is not guaranteed forever. That client may or may not want to continue working with you after 2 years. So you have all of the risks of a business, but you have the limitation of self-employment. So if I was a contractor, I would not sleep at night until I figured out how to turn my skill and my expertise into a business. And a business is something that runs and generates income and serves clients whether you're there or not. That's what a business is. So that is my 2 cents on contracting. And the beauty, there's another thing you can do as a contractor, depending again how much you're earning. All of your excess income, you should be investing like no tomorrow. A contractor who's on 10, 20K a month should be able to retire within 8 years. Should be able to retire within 8 years. Problem is, the more we earn, the more we like to spend. So that's the issue. A lot of people fall into. A lot of people fall into that. So that's my humble opinion on contracting. It's fantastic, it's good, but what's great would be to have your own business. And if a company is already paying you ridiculous money for your knowledge and expertise, I'm sure you can turn that into a business. Okay, we got a question from Muhammad Uzair, but I can't see all of the comments, unfortunately. Let me see. Someone is asking, how comes you have an Italian accent? It's because I was born in Milan. Gatehouse Home Financing currently is, I think, the only player left. Although PFDIA, no, PFIDA, FIDA, they have the best product, the most halal product. But the problem is they don't have enough capital to help everyone. So they have a huge waiting list. Okay, so I've taken all of the questions on TikTok. Let me have a quick look here on Instagram. Do you invest in SMEs and startups? The honest truth is, I would love to, but we have so much going on in our own sort of in our own businesses that all the capital just goes back into back into the business. And we're now investing heavily into content as well, close to 6 figures a year in content. So it leaves me with zero capital to invest in other people's businesses. But inshallah, in the next few years, we're hoping, and that's part of my long-term plan, that's why all of my content is around business, is to create an ecosystem where not only are we helping Muslim business owners with training, coaching, mentoring, and that sort of stuff, but we also can provide investment, funding, scaling, all of that stuff, inshallah. Right. I'm gonna quickly go on YouTube and see if I can see the questions from Brother Muhammad Uzair, because there's a few comments, but they're not showing fully for some reason. So I want to make sure that you get at least you get an answer from me before we wrap up the session today, inshallah. So I am now going to the comments. Okay, here we go. Oh, I still can't see it. Oh well, let me see if I'll have a go. I made a plan 5 years back, them of being a millionaire who is working for Allah, but due to some reasons, my 2 years have been wasted, and I want to achieve all of that in the next 3 years. Okay. My reason of distraction was lack of proper guidance. I'm watching your content from the past month and I'm inspired by work, and recently have started to work on lowering gaze after watching your video. Alhamdulillah. Now I want to achieve for what I can do. Uh, Now I want your advice for what I can do to achieve my goal in the next 3 years. MashaAllah. So, first thing is you wanted to become a millionaire in 5 years. For me, that's a problem. For me, that's a problem because it's almost like saying, I want to have a six-pack in this many days, but you haven't actually put a plan in place of how you're going to get there. Also, why do you want to be a millionaire, and why does it have to be 5 years? Why can it not be a bit longer? I achieved all of my goals, but it took me twice as long as I thought it would. Okay, it takes long. So it's good to have a target, but it sounds to me you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself on the timeline. Remember, Allah decides the timeline, not you. So your goal should be, firstly, why do you want to be a millionaire? Because maybe you can live your dream life and do everything you want to do without needing to be a millionaire. Like, I'm not a millionaire. A millionaire means you've got £1,000,000 in the bank, liquid. For me, millionaire means you got liquid money. I'm not a millionaire, but I couldn't be more grateful with with my life and with what I'm able to do every day. I don't need to be a millionaire to be able to help people, to be able to provide for my family, to be able to retire my mom, to be able to provide a good life to my wife and son. I don't need to be a millionaire. So that's the first thing I would say to Brother Muhammad Hussein is think deeply about what you're looking for. What is it that you want to achieve and why? Why do you want to achieve that? So if you want resources to help other Muslim and young entrepreneurs, first and foremost, help yourself. When you're on the airplane, they say to put your own mask on first. Because for me, it doesn't make sense. I want to be a millionaire so I can help other Muslims and young entrepreneurs. You don't need to be a millionaire to help other young Muslims and entrepreneurs. Some millionaires are not doing anything with their millions. And there's some people who have nothing and they're helping hundreds, thousands of people every week. So I would question, and that's what a good mentor does. I would question your intention more deeply. Let's go to the root of the cause. So two things, my two advice, just reading what you said. Firstly is Allah decides the timeline. So don't put that pressure on yourself that I have to do this in 3 years. Why? Allah can give it to you in 1 year, or He may decide that actually you'll never get there. Or maybe He decides you'll get there, but it'll take you 8 years. He decides, you don't decide. Number two is you need to have clarity about your goal. You don't need to be a millionaire to help Muslims. I'm not a millionaire, and I believe I'm doing a decent amount, more than most people do for their community. All of the content, all of, there's a lot of things that I do behind the scenes as well. You don't need to be a millionaire to help Muslims. You can lend people tens of thousands of pounds a month. You don't need to be a millionaire to do that. So, those are the only two things I will tell my dear brother Muhammad Uzair, because these two things will help you formulate a better goal, a much better goal. So I'm not going to tell you how to achieve your current goal in 3 years. What I'm going to tell you is these two things, which hopefully will help you get a better goal for yourself. That how exactly you want resources to help other Muslims. You want resources to help other Muslims. Not all resources need money, and definitely doesn't need millions. Final question from Salahuddin Al Samir. What is the subconscious mind? Is it the soul? No, it isn't. So every human being is made up of certain parts. There's different entities Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us with. There's the physical body, there is the mind, there is the heart, and there's a fourth thing, which is the soul, the ruh. This is our Islamic understanding, that we have akal, we have intelligence, we have a physical body, which is just a vessel, we have the heart, and then we have the spirit. So the subconscious mind is part of your akal, part of your intelligence, nothing to do with your soul. And by the way, the soul is the only entity within us that will last forever. The brain, the mind, one day will stop working. The body one day will stop working. The heart one day will stop working. But the soul will never perish. The soul is what will go through the day of judgment. The soul is what will live in Jannah, inshallah, forever and ever and ever and ever. So I just wanted to mention that and to share that these are the four entities we have. Every human has these four entities. What's your thoughts about subleasing property business in Dubai, essentially a rent-to-rent business in Dubai? I think it probably would do pretty well, but I haven't done any research on it. I don't know any data on it. I haven't looked into it, so I can't really comment. I would suggest that you do your own research properly, see what the market is like. Maybe it's oversaturated, maybe it's booming. You need to look into it properly and then make an opinion, make an educated guess that, you know what, this is going to be a good business. I can see that there's growing demand. I can see that all of the listings on Airbnb are always fully booked. I can see evidence that this business will do well. But before you do that, I would actually reach out to people who are already doing that business. And I was looking into a different type of business once. And what I did is I was trying to do some research, and I just booked the thing just to be able to speak to the guy. I booked it. I won't tell you exactly what it was, but I booked it and spent money just so I get to meet the person who's renting out and I get to ask him a few questions. That is part of doing your homework. That is part of learning. Learn before you earn. And that's how we will finish today. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah fikum. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليه. We'll wrap up here and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.